Hello everyone, thank you for tuning in. I'm Yushi from New York Temple Happy Science. Today I would like to share with you the 3 mindsets to overcome a world depression. Now the reason why I wanted to take this, because one, a lot of people are afraid that a depression has come, and it is said that it's likely to come because of the economical situation we're in, because of the COVID-19 or the coronavirus. So I wanted to share with you Master Ryuho Okawa's 3 points that he referred to using other thinkers or other teachers' thoughts as well, but mainly 3 things that Master Ryuho Okawa taught us in the past to be able to overcome this depression. Now, this upcoming possible depression. Now, this seminar, I wouldn't say a seminar, this message today it was half created by myself, but the first half was actually created by one of the candidates of Happiness Realization Party. His name is Mr. Yukihisa Oikawa, or Yuki Oikawa in America. But as you know, HRP, Happiness Realization Party, is a political party that Master started in 2009, and we have a lot of great candidates, and one of them, Mr. Yuki Oikawa, he gives out really great messages on the HRP opinion channel. And I asked him if I can use some of his materials to share it in English. And he said yes. So this first half of this seminar is created by, well, actually the main core structure is based on his YouTube video, but there are some parts that I have changed in it so that it'll fit the American readers or American viewers or the worldwide overseas viewers. Now, the title of this message today is How to Overcome the World Depression. Now, when was the last world depression that occurred? As you know, it's the Great Depression that started in America it started in 1929. But however, it started in 1929, but the important part to know about this world depression is it lasted throughout the 30s. And it actually ended in 1939 when World War II started. So this world depression, it's not something that will end just in a year or two. It's something that can last for a long time if it occurs. So we need to brace ourselves. And who was the president that got elected, the 32nd president who got elected during this Great Depression? He is the famous Franklin D. Roosevelt. And during his first inauguration speech, which was in 1933, he says this famous quote. So first of all, let me assert my firm belief that the only thing we have to fear is fear. So in these times, people were fearful and they were filled with despair and they were anxious when the depression is going to end, and there was fear all over the place and a lot of people were committing suicides, and it was just a very disastrous age or era. And so he was trying to tell the American people, fear not the recession, fear itself is what you should fear. However, this speech, there is a speechwriter who wrote this speech, and that is Napoleon Hill. He's a famous, I guess, teacher in my terms. He's a famous author of self-help books. And as you see in the screen, Think and Grow Rich. This is a very classic, it's a famous self-help book. And this book was actually published in 1937, smack dab right in the middle of the Great Depression. And during the Great Depression, he titled his book, Think and Grow Rich. So this shows how mentality is extremely important when it comes to gaining riches in the times of adversity. And there's many things that's talked about in this book, but one thing that relates to that speech of FDR is the 6 ghosts of fear. The 6 ghosts of fear. They're the fear of poverty, criticism, ill health, loss of love, old age, and death. So Napoleon Hill is saying fear is something that is extremely hazardous when it comes to gaining riches or to keep you away from poverty. And what was one thing that he clearly said in this book? That's going to be the first mindset that I would like to be sharing with you, learning from Yuki Oikawa. What I would like to be sharing with you, the first mindset is definiteness of plans. Napoleon Hill is saying that you need to have a definite plan. Before the plan, you need a burning desire, is what he says. The burning desire to overcome this recession. I think we're all going to naturally have that. So how are we supposed to use that burning desire? He's saying, change it into a definite plan. And however, during a recession, it's the times that you won't be able to predict what the future is like, right? However, all the more it's important to create a plan. In this book, in that section of the Ghosts of Fear, he talks about leadership qualities, and he says, the successful leader must plan his work and work his plan. A leader who moves by guesswork without practical definite plans is comparable to a ship without a rudder. Sooner or later, he will land on the rocks. So again, have a clear plan. In Happy Science, it is taught that if you have a clear plan, that is actually the beginning of gaining guidance from, one, the spiritual world, which I'll be talking about later, and two, also from other people. You will be able to gain assistance if you have a concrete plan. But if you do not have a plan, it's like you're allowing the waves to take you wherever you want. Having a plan is having a mast up and then you choose your own direction which way you want to go. It has that kind of mental effect and a spiritual effect which will affect the reality. So having a definite plan is the first mindset. So what is the second mindset that is necessary? Well, let's go back to 2008 January. Master Ryu Hokawa, although it's not in English, he's given a lecture called After Night Comes a Day. In other terms, the night is long that never finds the day. A famous quote from Shakespeare. But this was actually a prophecy. Why? This lecture, again, was given in January 2008. But back then in Japan, they were doing really good in economy. So even like back then there was an HRP, but Mr. Yuki Oikawa, he even felt that, why is Master Okawa giving this kind of teachings right now? In this lecture, he's saying how to overcome turbulent ages. But actually, what happened 6 months or a half a year later? The Lehman shock. September 2008. The Lehman Brothers, the famous investment bank, went bankrupt, and that has affected the world economy. And so Master Ryu Hokawa kind of predicted it. And in that lecture, he talks about how to overcome that upcoming the age of crisis. He says, no matter how difficult a situation may be, there will always be a chance to come back. When one door closes, another opens. This is a famous quote that Master uses a lot in his lectures, but a lot of people apparently has used this quote in the past. One famous person who used this quote in the past was Helen Keller. She said, when one door of happiness closes, another opens. But often we look so long at the closed door that we do not see the one that has been opened for us. So what is important here is not to give in to despair. Don't be filled with hopelessness. This is an eternal truth. How do you do that though? Here's the key. How do you find the door of hope that is opened before you that is still unseen in these kind of turbulent times? It is through meditation, or in other words, contemplation. And by doing so, gaining an inspiration. So in Happy Science, it is taught that meditation is a way to communicate with the heavenly world and to be able to invite into your mind these phenomenal inspirations and ideas which are driving factors of prosperity and wealth. That is the actual meaning of meditation. And a lot of famous CEOs use this technique. One famous person would be Steve Jobs. He would use this esoteric Zen mindfulness meditation, and he called it my discipline. And here's a quote from Steve Jobs. "If you just sit and observe, you will see how restless your mind is during meditation. If you try to calm it, it only makes it worse. But over time, it does calm, and when it does, there's room to hear more subtle things. That's when your intuition starts to blossom and you start to see things more clearly and be in the present more. Your mind just slows down and you see a tremendous expanse in the moment. You see so much more than you could see before." So as you can see, even Steve Jobs, he's famous for creating so many different things, but what was his driving factor? It was actually the Zen mindfulness meditation is what he called. And therefore, by doing so, again, going back to the second mindset, to be able to see the opened door, it's really important to delve deeply into your mind. And as you know, Steve Jobs called it a discipline. So it takes practice. But here at Happy Science, it has a phenomenal merit when you become a devotee member of Happy Science. Devotee member means you devote yourself to the Buddha, the Enlightenment, Dharma, the teachings, and Sangha, the group. But what happens? Master Ryu Hokawa has taught us that there are 6 merits when you become a devotee. And the 5th one is said, devotee members are able to receive inspiration from heaven. You will be blessed with ideas at work and will be able to live a life of giving. So when you become a devotee, that's like signing a contract with the heavenly world. Your guardian spirit awakens to your mission and you start gaining guidance from a guiding spirit. Guiding spirits will come to you if you have a specific mission. And for people who doesn't believe in the spiritual world, this is an unseen, untapped resource of ideas which will help you overcome any kind of negative situations, and they will help you through to be able to see that open door. And also I would like to introduce this book, The Laws of Invincible Leadership. He says that the secret to gaining the assistance of a guiding spirit is maintaining a pure and open heart. Selflessness, humility, and the desire to actualize the power of God will open your mind to a flood of power from the other world. As you know, we have a very famous sutra called the True Words Spoken by Buddha. When you become a devotee, you receive that sutra. By reciting this sutra, it has this effect. It makes your mind pure, it keeps your mind humble and selfless, and it'll naturally infuse in your mind the desire to want to help other people, that genuine feeling of love. And by doing so, that is actually a quality to be able to invite spiritual inspiration. And again, that will definitely help you find hope in times of despair. No matter what, I will assure you that you will find hope. If you become a devotee of Happy Science, I 1,000% can assure you, because that is how much the power of salvation is working from the spiritual world right now. So I don't think there is a lie for me to say this, that it's 1,000% that you will gain assistance if you become a devotee. So that was the second mindset. Keep your eyes open to the newly opened door. And then the third mindset, Master Ryu Hokawa, last year, December 12th, 2019, he gave a lecture called To the Age of New Prosperity. It's in a book form in Japanese, not in English. However, you can watch the full lecture of it in English subtitles and English voiceover at our temples. To the New Age of Prosperity, a vital, extremely crucial, many teachings has been taught in this lecture. And what's very shocking or astonishing for me is in this lecture, he said, however, the reality is 2020 will most likely start from suffering rather than joy. What does he mean by however? So at the end of 2019, what was it like in Japan? It was people were very happy because the next year, 2020, we were going to have the Olympics, and the economy is going to boost from that. Japan has entered a new Japanese era. It's called Reiwa era has started. So everything seemed really bright. That's how the society was. But again, Master says this prophecy that 2020 will rather start from suffering. And then, this is really astonishing. He said, the crash of the Chinese economy is just around the corner. And that's, in a way, what we're seeing right now and what we're about to see in the upcoming months and years. But again, Master Ryu always gives his teachings to give hope. He doesn't prophesize any bad future or a negative future like a doomsday. He always gives us precautions that unfortunately this age could or will come. Therefore, I'm going to give you the prescriptions now. He's always ahead of the time. And what was the prescription he has given to us? And I quote from his lecture. We must not just wait for what the government can give us, for it will only lead to a dark future for the country and also for your companies, he said. The only ones who will survive the upcoming turbulent times are the ones who thought with their own heads, perspired, and made efforts clenching their teeth. So, simply put, don't rely on the government. And this is a very important mindset to have. In my other YouTube video, I talked about the spiritual message of Konosuke Matsushita, the founder of Panasonic, and the spirit of Konosuke Matsushita was saying that get to work. You got to think by yourself. Don't wait for the government's help because you will mercilessly be thrown away. So you have to start thinking what the next step is. And what is the next step? What is the next step? This is like the part 2 of the third mindset that is necessary. That is, again, going back to this book, The Laws of Invincible Leadership. What's the basic principle of business success? Always be mindful of customers' needs. In other words, don't think of seeds, but the needs. What does he mean? Don't think the seeds, but the needs. So the seeds means the seed of your ideas. How, business is operated with abundant ideas, right? To be able to survive and to be able to win customers from your other rivalry companies. You need a lot of ideas. But when you try to come up with the ideas, the seeds of the idea shouldn't be coming from you. Rather than that, you should always be in the customer's shoes. It's very hard to do, but extremely important. A lot of business owners are the creative types. So they come up with many different ideas. And of course, if you're a business owner, you're obviously a very capable person. But the trap of a business owner is that conceit or arrogance. In this book, I would like to quote from this book, The Laws of Invincible Leadership. Master says, you have to always see things from your customer's perspective when you think. If you think that you are more intelligent than your customers and thus you can judge the situation better than they can, you'll make the same mistake that the communist or socialist nations made. And I'm going to continue this quote. One of the reasons socialism collapsed was that the Politburo could not control market prices. The party leaders could not tell what the proper prices for products should be or understand how market prices fluctuate based on various interrelated factors. The system in which the top people set prices and production quotas has become a thing of the past. These are the things that the market decides. So in other terms, planned economy never works. That is a matter of fact, right? However, unfortunately, if you're not very considerate of being in the shoes of your customers, it's easy to fall into this trap that your seeds, your ideas is what the customers are going to want. And usually, in business, they say, please think for your customers, or, think for the benefit of your customers. But thinking for the customer, the subject of that sentence is still I am thinking for my customer. However, Master Ryo is telling us that no, that is still wrong. It's not for the customer, but be in the customer's shoes. Don't let the subject be you. Let the subject of the sentence be your customers. See everything from their perspective and what they want. Even though this economic depression hasn't started very seriously, maybe as compared to the Great Depression in 1929. However, I think most of us can already say that we are very wise on what to use our money on. A lot of people are obviously are becoming more strict in how to use their money. When that's the case, the companies or the products or the services that are going to survive is the ones that people want. See, ask yourself this question. What do you want to buy? Do I want to buy what I want, or do I want to buy what he thinks I want? You want to buy what you want, right? So this is a very important mindset. Once you decide not to rely on the government, what is necessary is to start putting yourself in the customer's shoes and doing whatever you can to fulfill that need or those needs. All right. So those were the 3 mindsets to overcome depression that was shared by, again, Yuki Oikawa from Happiness Realization Party. First was make a plan. 2, another door will always open. And 3, don't rely on the government and find the needs. These are all teachings based on Master Ryuho Okawa, the founder of HRP and Happy Science. So this concludes my little video today. I hope this was beneficial. Again, thank you HRP for allowing me to use your video that was in Japanese. And again, everyone, this book is crucial. Such an important book to read now. Even if you're not a business owner, if you have this mindset, I don't know how to say this, but it'll be extremely beneficial for you in this upcoming age. It's consisted of 5 chapters, but absolutely phenomenal, very rich in wisdom. And also, if you would like to become a devotee, please contact New York Temple or your local temples near you. Now more than ever, we need the power of God. Becoming a devotee to the 3 treasures, that already is a proof that you're a great person, and God and Buddha will love you if you decide to do so. That is the holy merit of becoming a devotee. This concludes my video today. Thanks for tuning in. I hope this helps. Please share and spread this video to as many people as you can if you find it helpful. I'm sure that there will be a lot of hints to give hope to people who are suffering in this time of economic depression that is to come. Thank you very much.